everyone, it's composer and educator Dr. Scott Watson with a new feature for my YouTube channel, Dr. Watson Answers Your Questions. I'm going to try from time to time to answer questions sent in to me, as I have time. In episode 1, a middle schooler asks about being a composer. And now, here we go with episode 1 of Dr. Watson Answers Your Questions. Hey Christian, this is Dr. Scott Watson. I appreciate you reaching out to learn more about composing. So let me get right into it, and hopefully this helps you at middle schools with the research project you're doing. Okay, what is your daily life as a composer and director? Well, my daily life is I'm a teacher. I actually work as a full-time associate professor of music theory and composition at Cairn University. That's C-A-I-R-N in Philadelphia. So that's my job. That's my day job, as they say. And then for 35 years prior to coming to Cairn University 3 years ago, I was a full-time band director in the Parkland School District in Allentown. So really, I see myself as a teacher who composes, not as a composer who teaches. So my daily life is teaching, and then when I have time, like a Tuesday morning when I'm not at school, or Saturday morning, or over the summer, say, that's when I write the music I write. And it's work. You get up, I have sketchbooks here that have ideas for pieces. I craft them just like somebody who's crafting a piece of furniture. I use software to do that, just like today. A lot of craftsmen use software and technology. So there's music notation software and things like that. But anyway, it's a part-time job kind of for me. What are the benefits of being a composer? I just love that I get to connect with people. Like, for instance, I just got back from West Palm Beach, Florida, where I was the composer in residence with the King's Academy, this really wonderful school. It's a elementary, middle school, high school, private school, Christian private school in West Palm Beach, Florida. And their bands were playing some music that I composed, and they actually commissioned me to write a piece for their middle school band because they've played my music in the past and they liked it. So they said, hey, we want you to write a special piece for us. So that was a job, right? Writing the piece for them was a commission or a gig where I got paid to do that. But then I also got paid to fly down there and work with their bands for 2 days. And I just love meeting the directors and the students, and that's my favorite part of it. I love seeing my music being performed in public too. It's kind of like seeing your baby be born, right? Not as profound as that, right? I'm a father as well, but creating a composition and then in your head and then in the software, but then actually seeing real people play it, that's a real thrill too. And a lot of times that's the thing that gets composers hooked. What are the pros and cons of being a composer? There's lots of pros. It is income, but that's not primarily why I do it. It's a creative outlet. I believe we're created to be creative, right? I'm a person of faith who believes that we're created in God's image, and part of who God is he is a creator, right? So I think we're at our happiest when we're creative, and that doesn't mean composing all day. It could be my wife who loves to plan parties, and she's just really good at that. So anytime you express yourself creatively, I think that's you being part of being your human best. So that's a pro. And then meeting all the people I meet through the music I write. And the publishers, I love working with the publishers who publish my music. Those are another group of relational things. The cons of being a composer, I would say the only con I can think of is rejection. Sometimes I'll send a piece to a publisher and they just decide they don't want it, they don't like it. And it's kind of tough. Even I'm 62 years old, so even at 62 years old being told, we don't like your stuff. Sometimes you hear it as we don't like you, right? So, and that happens, by the way. You can't be in this business or any artistic business without experienced rejection. So you have to kind of decide what you're about and how important that's going to be to you. But just an aside from that is that the people who are usually the most successful are the ones who are the most tenacious, the ones that don't give up. Not necessarily the best composers, but the ones who don't give up. Anyway, get back to your list. What classes would I have to take to become a composer? Well, first of all, you should be really good at your instrument, whatever instrument that is. It could be piano, but it could also be trumpet or tenor sax, whatever it is you play in band or orchestra. Try to be really good at it. If you're not taking private lessons, you're already behind. Get private lessons. Do it. Get weekly lessons with a really good teacher. Be excellent at your instrument. That's number one. Number two, take any electives that are offered at your school, like music theory. music production. Uh, Being savvy with media and technology is absolutely important. When I was talking to some of the seniors at the King's Academy this week, who want to go to school for music, even performance. They said, "What do I need to know?" And I said, "The first thing I told you: be good at your instrument, but also be good with technology. So learn to use and be comfortable with digital audio workstations, music notation software, all that, video editing. All of that is part of a musician's toolkit these days. Like I have a YouTube channel, and I part of my income, it's monetized, is the YouTube channel. So, and it also markets my music. So you have to kind of be an entrepreneur these days. And then the third thing. So get private lessons on your instrument, really good at it. Participate in ensemble music. Do not be a lone ranger. Don't be a kind of person who plays your instrument alone. Play it with all the ensembles you can at school. Take advantage of every single. So if there's a concert band and you play a concert band instrument, you should be in that. If you say, well, I don't have time for it, make time for it. That's I can't emphasize how important that is. So participate in school music, take private lessons, be good at technology, take the electives offered at your school. And I would say also possibly if you can fit this into your schedule, this is the one I'd say is maybe negotiable. You may not have time to take private lessons on your instrument and to take composition lessons from an area composer. But that would be, I'd say, the last on my list, because you can pick that up in college. And you can compose on your own even without lessons. But it might be good to have that guidance too. Okay. What things do you enjoy about your job? I think I've already mentioned that. I'm just going to keep going on. But the relational is definitely number one on that list. What is the hardest thing about your job? There's some risk, right? You take a commission. You get paid several $1,000s by a client to create something. 1 year from now, you're supposed to turn over a piece for their band or their orchestra or their choir. And when you accept the commission and you sign a contract saying that you're going to deliver this commission, you're going to create this piece for them, you don't know where these ideas are going to come from. And you sort of have to trust that you're going to dig into your creative well, and from there will spring forth an idea for a piece, and you'll be able to have the time to craft it. So I guess the risk is the hardest thing about the job. I love the work though. I love sitting down at my piano and with pencil and paper, and then with my computer and software. I love it's hard work, but I like that work. Why did you want to become a composer and director? I honestly didn't want to become a director. When my wife and I got married, I wanted to be a composer and I wanted to be a college teacher. And I just took a high school band job. My wife and I agreed we'd do it for 3 years to pay back our student loans and be responsible, and then I would pursue the other thing. But after 3 years of teaching, I realized how much I enjoyed working with kids and shaping them and pouring into them. And I realized after 3 years, this is a great job. It's also hard work, but I like it. So then I decided to stay in K-12 teaching. But I always had this like outlet to compose, and I think I'd be doing it even if I wasn't paid. Like during the pandemic, a lot of my clients dried up. Nobody was asking for me to write music during the pandemic because no one was performing music. And I still composed, right? I still did it just for myself. And so the director is kind of related to it now that I'm not a school band director, like next week I'll be in Wisconsin directing some of my music, and I mentioned I was in Florida and I was in Pennsylvania and I'll be in New Jersey, and so traveling around and directing my music helps me market my music. People are excited to have the composer come and direct their students or their ensembles. So, and I also like it. I like meeting the people I work with. So it's a relational thing, and it helps me meet people and meet future clients and things like that. But I think composing, directing is all spinning around in the orbit, but what's in the center is teaching, and that's really what I like the most. What's your favorite thing about your job? Creative problem solving, right? You get a commission and you figure out a way to satisfy the client creatively that's aesthetically appealing to you. Aesthetic, that's a word that means like beauty. So it's artistically interesting to you, but it also is exactly what the client wants, right? So creative problem solving is probably my favorite thing. What kind of person is best suited for this job? Hard worker, that would be number one. Tenacious, don't give up, number two. Savvy with technology, because you're going to use those tools to compose. How many years of college do you need to become a composer? None. Bach did not go to college, right? Aaron Copland might have gone to college for an undergraduate, but I don't think he has a master's degree, except for an honorary master's and doctorate. He's one of the most famous American composers of the mid-20th century. Leonard Bernstein, I think, only has an undergraduate. So you could go to 4 years of school, and that's it. Or you could go all the way through to your doctorate like I did, because it just worked out that I was getting help in becoming a better composer in my master's and my doctoral program. But it doesn't make me a better composer because I have a doctorate. It just helped me become the composer I am. So you actually don't need any formal education to be a composer. However, I think, especially if you're in high school, you should really think about if you're pursuing that path of being a composer. A lot of composers are not just composers. They do other things like teach, or they, in an entrepreneurial sense, they direct, they write articles, they write books, they produce videos for their YouTube channel. There's so many things that I think an undergraduate, a broad-based music undergraduate degree can add to your preparedness to be a professional composer. I would definitely recommend these days going to get a degree. Okay, that's all of your questions, Christian. Good luck with all of that, and good luck with deciding what you want to be when you grow up. I mean, it's not an easy decision at your age, and I feel for you because I know I've changed plans several times, and I have kids who are now in their 30s. It's very rare for somebody to know, like when they're in 9th or 10th grade, what they want to do for the rest of their life. And you don't have to, right? But you just have, but I think any plan is better than no plan. So make a plan, pursue it hard, maybe have a 1-year goal, a 5-year goal, and a 10-year goal, and just keep reevaluating that. Do it with your parents too, because your parents know you better than anybody else, and they'll be able to give you some really candid, sobering, and helpful, lovingly advice. So don't neglect getting mom and dad's opinion. All right, hope this is helpful. So long.